Welcome back to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we are stripping away the myths of ancient history to look at something raw, massive, and undeniable. We are traveling to the wind-swept Loess Plateau of northern China. For a long time, the history books told us a specific story about the origins of Chinese civilization. They told us it began in the fertile central plains along the Yellow River. They told us the north was a place of barbarians, nomads, and simple hunter-gatherers. But today, we are going to talk about why that story is wrong. We are going to talk about a discovery that was hiding in plain sight, dismantled by farmers to build pigsties, only to be revealed as one of the largest, most sophisticated, and terrifying cities of the ancient world. This is the story of Shimao, the Stone City, and the chilling network of war tunnels recently discovered beneath the earth. Let's start with the landscape. Imagine the Loess Plateau. It is dry, dusty, and sculpted by thousands of years of wind. For decades, villagers in Shenmu, in Shanxi province, were living on top of a mystery. While tilling their fields, they would constantly hit jagged stones. Occasionally, they would find pieces of jade, discs, blades, fragments of precious stone. They didn't know what they were finding. They assumed the old bricks were rubble from the Great Wall, which isn't far away. So, being practical people, they used these ancient stones to build their homes and their pigsties. They were literally cementing their farm structures with artifacts from a lost empire. It wasn't until 2011 that archaeologists began a systematic survey, and what they found shattered the standard model of Chinese history. They didn't find a village. They found a fortress. They uncovered a city that covered over 400 hectares. To put that in perspective, that is roughly 1,000 acres. Shimao was the largest known city in China from the Longshan period, dating back roughly 300 years. It dwarfed the contemporary settlements in the Central Plains, the supposed cradle of civilization. And unlike the cities to the south, which were built of rammed earth, Shimao was built of stone. Millions of cubic meters of rock, quarried, transported, and stacked to create walls that, even after 4 millennia, still stand several meters high. So, how was this city organized? Shimao was designed for control and defense. It had 3 layers: an outer city, an inner city, and a central imperial citadel perched on a natural hill. But calling it a hill doesn't do it justice. This brings us to the most visually striking feature of Shimao, the Pyramid of the Loess Plateau. At the center of the city stands the Huangqingtai, or the Imperial City Platform. For years, experts thought this was just a high hill, but excavations revealed that the hill had been terraced and encased in stone. It is essentially a massive, stepped pyramid, standing over 70 meters, or 230 feet tall. It consists of 11 stacked platforms, reinforced with stone buttresses. If you stood at the bottom and looked up 300 years ago, you would have seen a monument to engineering that rivaled the pyramids of Egypt in sheer visual impact. At the very summit lay a palatial complex, rammed earth palaces with wooden pillars and tiled roofs. This was a fortress within a fortress, a prehistoric, forbidden city where the elites lived far above the commoners. But the walls of this pyramid held a secret. This is where the story gets strange. In most Neolithic cultures, jade was a treasure buried with the dead. It was a status symbol. At Shimao, however, jade was construction material. Archaeologists found thousands of jade discs and blades inserted directly into the gaps between the stone blocks of the city walls. This wasn't a storage method, it was a ritual. The experts believe this jade served as a spiritual defense, a magical barrier intended to repel malevolent spirits or curse enemy invaders. The fact that they could afford to stick thousands of pieces of precious jade into a wall suggests this civilization possessed immense wealth and controlled vast trade networks. Now, while the pyramid is impressive, the most terrifying genius of this civilization lies underground. And this brings us to the most recent news. The Shimao culture wasn't just one city, it was a network. One of its satellite sites is a place called Huchengzui. In late 2023, excavations at Huchengzui revealed something that rewrote military history: a labyrinth of underground tunnels. For a long time, historians assumed complex underground warfare was a much later invention. But beneath the stone walls of Huchengzui, dating back 500 years, they found a sophisticated triple defense system. These weren't drainage pipes. These were tactical tunnels. They range from 1.5 to 6 meters deep. They have arched ceilings, similar to the traditional cave dwellings of the region. They are about 1.5 meters wide and up to 2 meters high. This means armed soldiers could run through them without crouching. Imagine the layout. These tunnels radiate outward from the city center like a spiderweb. They connect the inner fortified gatehouse to the outside world and the defensive moats. The design suggests they had a dual purpose. In a siege, when the city is surrounded, these tunnels allowed defenders to move supplies or messengers in and out secretly. But more aggressively, They served as sally ports. Imagine an attacking army surrounding the walls. Suddenly, the ground opens up behind them. Shock troops from the city emerge from hidden tunnel exits, strike the besiegers from the rear, and then vanish back into the earth before the enemy can react. This proves that the people of the Shimao culture lived in a state of endemic, sophisticated warfare. They were paranoid, powerful, and ready for anything. Back at the main city of Shimao, the architecture reflects this same paranoia. Let's look at the east gate of the outer city. Entering this city was a nightmare for an invader. It wasn't a simple door. It was a baffled entry, involving a U-shaped enclosure called a barbican. If you breached the first gate, you didn't get into the city. You got trapped in a killing box, surrounded by high walls on 3 sides, with defenders raining down stones and arrows from above. This design was thought to have been invented during the Warring States period 2,000 years later. Shimao had it first. And it was right here, under the East Gate, that Shimao revealed its darkest secret. Archaeologists uncovered 6 pits. Inside were 80 human skulls. No other bones, just skulls. And they didn't belong to enemy warriors, they belonged almost exclusively to young women and girls. Analysis showed signs of blunt force trauma and burning. This was mass human sacrifice. The placement of the pits suggests a foundation ritual. The leaders of Shimao were consecrating their walls with blood, buying protection from the gods through extreme violence. Some genetic analysis suggests these victims might have come from the south, hinting that Shimao was at war with the ancestors of the Shea civilization in the Central Plains. It wasn't all war and death, though. The stones of Shimao also tell us about their art and their gods. The walls of the pyramid are decorated with stone carvings of strange, anthropomorphic figures, part human, part beast. They have large staring eyes and fanged mouths, often flanked by serpents. These look remarkably like the Tao Te motifs that would later dominate the Bronze Age Shang dynasty. Some scholars even see connections to the Sanjingdui culture in Sichuan or the shamanistic art of the Eurasian steppes. It suggests Shimao was a cosmopolitan hub, a crossroads connecting the agricultural heartland of China with the spiritual cultures of Siberia and Central Asia. We also know they had music. Archaeologists found thousands of bone needles and, fascinatingly, bone jaw harps. You can almost hear the twang of these instruments, echoing off the stone walls in the cold plateau wind. So, who were these people? The discovery of Shimao has forced a re-evaluation of the Yellow Emperor, the legendary ancestor of the Chinese people. For centuries, the Yellow Emperor was considered a myth, a warrior king said to live around 2700 BC. But Shimao's dating and location overlap perfectly with these legends. The militaristic nature of the city, the advanced technology, and the sudden rise to power align with the stories of the Yellow Emperor's wars. While we don't have a written sign that says Yellow Emperor lived here, Shimao proves that a powerful state-level society existed exactly when and where the myths say it did. It is very likely the historical reality behind the legend. But like all great empires, it ended. After flourishing for 3 centuries, around 1800 BC, Shimao was abandoned. It wasn't destroyed by an invading army or the tunnels. It was likely destroyed by the sky. Paleoclimatic data shows a global climate shift around this time, known as the 4.2 kiloyear event. The temperature dropped, the rain stopped, the Loess Plateau dried up, and the agriculture that supported this massive population collapsed. The people left, likely migrating south, blending into the Central Plains and carrying their technology, their art, and their memories with them, eventually influencing the Shang dynasty. Today, Shimao is a silent sentinel. The wooden palaces are dust, but the stone pyramid remains. The tunnels of Huqingzui are empty, but they tell us a clear story. Civilization did not rise from a single point. It was a tapestry, woven from the threads of the fertile plains and the harsh, stone-walled fortresses of the north. Shimao reminds us that history is often much older, much darker, and much more complex than we ever imagined. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online. We will catch you in the next episode.